how many times have you gone to a restaurant with your family, your friends, and come out with a long face because you end up paying more than you had to? Only because you couldn't figure out what that single number in percentage was buried deep in the list of items on a white piece of paper. So this is about service charges and service tax, and about the Supreme Court decision of making it optional for the customer.
Yes, there is a difference between service charge and service tax. Service tax is something which goes directly to the government, whereas what service charge we are paying here in the topic of our case is the amount which goes to the restaurant owner. So it is not necessarily the tip which you are paying to the waiter, which you think that is okay to pay to the waiter, but it is all, the tip amount is already included in the service charge which you are paying.
Well, but we probably don't know when we are paying the service charge or service tax, the service charges that is going to the waiters who are working there. And it's also very important to point that, you know, when they're including service charge, they have to mention there is transparency in it. They need to show how much is going to whom.
There is so much ambiguity in the new rule. The minute you make it voluntary, you're not sure whether you should pay it or not. There comes an embarrassing situation where you go to a restaurant, you had a hearty meal, and you don't pay it, and you're in a confrontational situation with the head of the restaurant.
Now, the National Restaurant Authority of India says that you pay or you don't eat. Now, I have a serious problem with that. Now, firstly, the entire concept of service charge seems to be very counterintuitive to me. You say service charge, which means charges for service. Now, if as a customer I walk into a restaurant and I'm not happy with the service that I get, why should I pay for that service? Why should I?
But at the same time, to also look at the welfare of the underdeveloped or the underprivileged, and look at it maybe as you're doing something to contribute towards the society. When you're going out there to buy a good hearty meal and paying a couple of hundreds or 1,000 rupees, what is the big deal in spending 100 or 200 to just make their life a little better or more comfortable? Look at it from the overall perspective is what I would say.
I think tipping is a better idea than service charge, because when you tip a person, at least you ensure that the person who served you has received the money. But with service charge, there's no transparency. We don't know the breakup of the service charge. We don't know who is getting the charge, or is it profitable, or is it actually reaching the waiters themselves.
Yeah, I completely concur with that idea, because if you think of it that way, when, say, NRI says that you pay or you don't come and eat, the service charge is, as you very correctly pointed out, is to make sure that everyone everyone is equally paid and their development is taken care of, their nutrition is taken care of, those who are working there. But because there is so much ambiguity when it comes to the breakdown of that service charge, I don't know if that money is even going to the chef. So if that money is not going to the chef, if I'm as a customer not aware of it, then can the hotel owner actually take responsibility for the quality of food that is being served to me? Because I don't know if the money, a part of it, a part of the service charge is going to the chef. Then ideally I should be going and talking to the chef and asking him, I have paid you money, so are you making sure that I'm being treated well and I'm being given nutritious food? Because then in that case, the hotel owner can really wash his hands off.
Nobody is forcing us to pay this charge, but we are paying occasionally, whatever it is. But still, these restaurants have the service charges in their bill. So people should aware of this service charges and service taxes.
For the same fact, we could actually alter the name of it. Instead of using, because service tax and service charge is such a confusing name, we can always come up with probably an alternative of having it as optional only or tip only, an alternative name, so that people actually know that this is the tip what you're paying and not a service tax or any extra charge to the restaurant.
However, let us not ignore the commercial logic behind service charge. The minute you get rid of service charge, I'm sure that the hotel owners will raise the price of the menu to recover the remuneration of the employees. Also, if you have to have service charge at all, can we at least bring uniformity in the rate of service charge? Some charge 5%, some charge 20%. So let's get rid of that grey area.
As you very correctly pointed out, people are still not aware that service charges are optional. I think the first step towards nipping this issue in the bud, so to speak, would be to somewhere put up, they very conveniently put up notices saying we won't accept 500 and 1,000 rupee notes because they're illegal tender. Then might as well put up a board saying that, look, service charges are optional. If you are happy with the services, then pay or don't, because it's as simple as that.
I think it's just basically about being aware whether you want to pay the service charge or not, and whether it applies to you, whether you've been happy and satisfied at the end of the day being a consumer. But I think the call is yours, so just take it, and if you're completely satisfied with your experience in a restaurant or a hotel, then going ahead and paying it would be an option that you could exercise solely at your discretion, which you should not allow the restaurant or the hotel to dictate to you, but you should take yourself. But if you feel you want to go ahead, I think it's worth going ahead.
I completely agree. As long as it's to your discretion, it should be fine. Simply because, say it's as when I go to a grocery store and buy milk, I'm paying 20 rupees because the packet of the milk costs 20 rupees. The guy there never asks me for that extra 5 rupees so that he can then distribute that 5 rupees to the 5 workers who are working there. Then why should that logic be extended to hotels and restaurants?
While we are talking about we have to pay the tip only when we are happy, there will be, here a question rises that there would be people, customers who, even though they are happy, they might not tip. That will be, that will not actually benefit the, the waiter.
Isn't there an ethical issue here? If you plan to go back to the restaurant again, obviously you would rather pay the tip and not get into an argument so I can go back again and be on good terms with the restaurant.